Good afternoon, everybody. This is Anna Sergunina, Jim Ludwig, and Kathy Watkins, live with Jim and Anna. Happy Friday. It's August 8th, 2014, and we are very excited to be here today. So our agenda is to go over a few questions that we have received from our clients and our listeners, and then we have a little surprise for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Jim, are you ready for your questions?
Oh, if you're going to ask me the questions first, go ahead, Anna. I'm ready.
We'll do one. We'll do one for you and then one for me, so to make it less pressure.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So question number one. I'm going to read a little introduction here. I'm a 60-year-old single and have a consulting business that's doing relatively well. I had just accepted a job that pays $165,000 a year. Currently, I am paying $3,300 a month to rent a condo near National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. I am considering moving to Arlington to save money on rent and also be closer to my family and friends. Assuming that I will probably be in D.C. for the next 5 years, should I consider buying? I have an IRA of about $1.3 million, about $200,000 in taxable dollars, and I have a note that that my daughter is paying me on for a mortgage that I helped her buy a house on. Are there psychological reasons for buying versus renting? What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think that is a really good question because of her 5-year timeline. And so I wrote her back and said, you know, this is a really important decision, and it's based on a number of assumptions. The first assumption is what are rents like, either in D.C. or Virginia, where you might live? What are house prices, and how likely are they to increase in value in the next 5 years? Because if you go to sell in 5 years and move someplace else, then will you have made enough money that it's worth your while? Also, you know, mortgage rates are low right now, so the cost of money is cheap. And so getting a 5-year or 7-year adjustable mortgage might be really inexpensive right now. And I warned her to look at the cost of owning a house versus just renting. And the New York Times has a great website where you can do rent versus buy, and they just recently revised it, so I suggested that I sent her the link, but for our viewers, if you just Google rentvs.buy New York Times, you'll find a very extensive calculator to help people make a decision based on the assumptions of rent increases and inflation and house price increases, and that way she can come to a conclusion financially. Emotionally, I think that is what I suggested that would be the deciding factor, and I recommended that she go ahead and look to purchase a house and have a mortgage because she's a high income earner, and so the deductibility of the interest would be important on her tax return. So that was my answer.
Yes, I think she also kind of had a good psychological reason, is that she's going to be closer to her friends and family. So that's good enough already.
Absolutely. And 5 years is long enough to own a house. So I thought it was appropriate for her to go ahead.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, your turn.
Well, Anna, you got a question from one of your clients that they had just received some money for their 2-year-old daughter's birthday. And it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough that they thought they would ask a First Friday question. And we got a few $100s in for her birthday. What should we do with it? Should we open a 529 college savings plan or maybe a Roth IRA? So how do you answer that question, Anna?
Sure. Yes, great question. Those clients actually happen to have already a 529 plan. So what I did is I had a little conversation with them, clarifying what was the goal for the money. Because if the goal is to save for college, then we certainly should contribute it to 529. Roth IRA is out of the picture because, first of all, client's daughter is too young and she does not have an earned income. to be able to contribute to this account. One of the other options was maybe a savings account. So amongst those three, I think 529 would be the most beneficial, and it would keep them on target for saving for college.
Well, good. That's
Okay.
a great answer. And I want you to know I agree with you, Anna. Very good.
Very good. Okay, so here's your question number 2. Okay, one of our clients has sent us a copy of Kiplinger's letter that talks about that correction is coming. Correction is coming. Correction is coming. Is there a good reason to worry about this? What do you think, Jim?
Well, here's my answer, Anna. I wrote the client back and said, have you read my latest blog, which came out about one day before he sent in the question?
Ah, okay.
And the title of my blog, in fact, you've given away the lead-in sentence already. The title of the blog was Doom on the Horizon, and I sent him a link to my blog, but if people would just Google Musings, M-U-S-I-N-G-S, they'll come right to the blog, and briefly what I said is it's very common for people to predict a correction because corrections happen every few years. One hasn't happened in the last 5 years, but there's some preparation that people can do. And staying diversified in your portfolio is one. Having enough cash on hand, so if you were doing withdrawals, you didn't have to sell stocks or other mutual funds when the market was down. If you had extra cash, hopefully you were saving it so you could buy low and then sell high. And I also were warning people in my blog not to pay too much attention to day-to-day events as it affects their investment portfolio, because there's always going to be wars and rumors of wars and other pestilences and droughts and viruses and things going around. But long-term savers and investors really have little to worry about because things do go up and down, and if they have enough cash on the sidelines, they'll be just fine. So that was the summary of my blog, and I was just comforting our worried client that, yes, there'll probably be a correction, and I expect it to, but we can do a lot of things to reduce the impact of the up and down of the markets.
Great. There was actually, I tweeted just before we got on Google Hangout, there was a similar, one of our favorite money managers in the Towson area, Green Spring. So Pat wrote a similar blog about avoid the noise out there and think with your head, not with your stomach. You know, when you get those butterflies and you worry, don't pay attention to that. Just think what your strategy is. What have you put in place before, and stick to it. So, if you want to.
Earlier this year.
Sorry, go ahead.
Earlier this year, you and I were at a conference in Salt Lake City where the keynote speaker was talking about the role of people like us, which is helping calm people down when there is a lot of noise out there and avoid panic, because people, investors, make their worst decisions when they panic, usually because the information is so startling or their friends and neighbors are all commenting on it too, and they just can't stand it anymore. That's one of our big functions, is to reassure people and to keep them diversified so it's not too impactful on them.
Right. Well, great. Let's do one more question.
Well, Anna, I have one more question for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Your clients got an unsolicited letter from Vanguard, their custodian, and said that you have got some shares in your mid-cap index fund. You should have Admiral shares instead. So our client sent you an email and said, gee, is this something I should be concerned about? What's going on?
There's definitely nothing to be concerned about. It's actually a great opportunity. So anytime you have $10,000 or more in one of the Vanguard funds, you are able to purchase Admiral shares. And Admiral shares is what allows you to buy it at the lower cost. So for a mutual fund that this client was asking about, mid-cap index funds. The investor share class is at 0.24% versus getting into the admiral share class, which is 0.09%. So it's almost like a third reduction in fees. So I didn't see if there was a downside to this, and it's actually very easy to do on the Vanguard side. You can either do it in your own account, or you can call them, and they're going to be happy to move it from your investor shares to admiral shares.
Good answer, Anna. Now let's get to the exciting news. What are you going to talk about?
Well, actually, and unfortunately, we don't have all of our team members today, but Kathy Watkins has actually made it to our little talk today. And so Kathy, myself, and Jim have been working together for the last year. And Kathy's role is a paraplanner. So we'd like you to meet her. I'm sure you have heard from her on some of the emails before, but this is a good opportunity to see what she looks like and what she sounds like as well. And so I thought Kathy might give us a little introduction and let everybody know what a paraplanner does, because I'm sure you're all familiar with what financial planners do. So welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Anna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I unmuted myself. I apologize in advance because you're going to hear a little background noise. My neighbor is getting a new roof, and I couldn't talk her into postponing this process until this was over. So I'm afraid you'll just have to bear with me. Yes, I am the staff paraplanner for MainStreet. In that capacity, I support Jim and Anna in pretty much all phases of meeting preparation. That includes those financial statements and spending plans and, recommendations that you see. I'm the person that, usually is the first drafter of those before Jim and Anna put their expertise and skill to work on them. I'm pretty sure that some of you may think of me actually as a para-pest, because I'm also the person that follows up and sends you these emails saying I need documents and I need them by this date, and I'm really not trying to be, the wicked witch. I'm just trying to make sure we get everything in adequate time that allows us to really spend the time that we need to spend in producing a really thoughtful, comprehensive plan for you. So now that you've put a face to the name, hopefully you know that I'm a nice person and I'm not trying to annoy you. Hopefully you'll look forward to hearing from me, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Great, thank you, Kathy. Thank you. No, we really do appreciate your help, and so yes, couldn't be better without you. We also have one other team member, but unfortunately her daughter has been sick in the last few days. So I guess we're going to have to wait until next month to have her join us so that you guys can meet her. Her name is Jennifer, and she started with us early this summer in June. So I'll just have to wait and see. Okay, that actually concludes the agenda that we had. So let me see if I can pull up the questions and see if we had the questions from our audience. So stand by a second. Here's our questions and answers. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, there should be on the left-hand side of your screen where the YouTube channel video is showing, there should be a little box that says participate in the conversation. You click on that, and you can actually type a question, and we are able to answer it if you'd like. So I'll give you maybe 30 seconds or so to prepare. If you have questions, we're happy to take them. Aren't we, Jim?
Absolutely.
You've been real quiet today.
I didn't want to talk over the top of you, Anna, so there's a little bit of a delay, and so I want to make sure that when I'm speaking, I'm not talking over the top of you. So there you go. Okay.
Well, I actually thought of something, and I probably should mention while we're waiting if there's a question or two. So 6 years ago, this was August 8th, 2008, I was flying to London, and this was the year when the Olympics were happening, I think in China. And so I remember because it was 8808. So that, and the reason it really stuck in my head is because I like number 8. That's my favorite number. So as I was getting ready for today's call with all of you, I was thinking, oh, it's August 8th, but it's not 2008, it's 2014. So yeah, six years later. But anyway, I thought I mention that because that's never going to happen again. 8808. Not even in my lifetime. It doesn't look like we have any questions come through, so we're still happy to answer them if you guys want to get in touch with us. If not, then we'll see you next month, second Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.